Welcome to Moessieurs for this video dedicated to getting started with ESP, the MODX M or Montage M virtual instrument. All I'm going to show you in this video will work for both. If you're not familiar on the way to work with virtual instruments, don't worry, I'll explain everything you need to know in that video. If you've already used virtual instruments, I invite you to watch it too. There are some features and details I'll explain that will be useful for you too. Before we begin, please click on the thumbs up if you like this video content, and click on the boost to highlight it in YouTube recommendations. Expanded Soft Synth Plugin, what is it? It's a virtual instrument, which is your MODX M or Montage M plugin on Mac or Windows. To use it, you need to be connected to your computer through the USB to host port. You need to have the Yamaha Steinberg driver installed too. As a reminder, you will find the Cubase AI free version download code with the manual in the MODX M or Montage M box. You can also transpose all I explain in that video to another sequencer software. Let's start on the MODX M with some settings to check. Go to Utility, Settings, MIDI I/O screen. Since you are connected by USB to your computer, you must select USB for MIDI in out. The MIDI channel for the first ESP using must be set to MIDI channel 1. You can change it later if you need. The control change number for scene memory is by default 92 and 95 for the super knob. You'll see that ESP is set with the same values. That's better to have these values for your first ESP using. Let's go now to Cubase. I'm using the Pro version. It will work in the same way in AI free version. Here I have some templates I've worked on. If you're just starting with Cubase, create an empty project by clicking on Create Empty. Choose a directory to save your project by pressing to select folder. For me, it's in my Cubase folder. In the Cubase empty project, there's absolutely nothing. Let's go to Project. Add track. That's how you can add on your project audio tracks, MIDI tracks, and virtual instruments tracks. Let's add an instrument track. By default, it purposed to me Expanded Soft Synth Plugin. If you have other virtual instruments, select Expanded Soft Synth Plugin in the list. The MIDI input is already set because I've already worked with Expanded Soft Synth Plugin. If you need to see how to set the MIDI port and audio bus configurations, I invite you to watch my video, How to Set in Place Your Cubase Project, where I explain all you need to know to work with your MODX M, and you can transpose this to the Montage M as well, or for one other DAW using. Set the MIDI input you need. The audio output is also configured for me. Set it to main, and give a name to the track. Let's call it ESP, of course. Click on Add Track. And now we have a track in the project, and ESP is opening. Before trying ESP, I'm going to recall you a setting that you can see with more details in my Cubase video. Let's go to Studio and Studio Setup. An important point here for Windows users, in MIDI port setup, port for input, this one must be disabled. Not the output, just the input. If you're on Mac, you don't need to check this. Now check the track inspector here. You need to be sure that MODX M or Montage M is set as input port. Now, I'm sure you want to play some ESP performances to try it. By default, CFX plus FMEP is the first performance displayed. We can't hear ESP. You need to activate the small speaker here if you don't want to record in your DAW, but just want to play with ESP. Now we can hear the CFX plus FMEP clearly, in dual with the MODX M organ performance. If you want to record MIDI, you simply press Rec like this. That's the first important point. You can play both a performance on your MODX M and one other else ESP performance in the same time. This can allow you to gain polyphony on the ANX engine, which on the MODX M is 12 notes. You can have two great pads here on a performance, with unison that you'll play live, and either in Cubase, or in software more dedicated to live performance, such as Camelot Pro, VSTi Live, Gig Performer, or Main Stage. you can have one other ESP Performance, where you have other ANX sounds that allow you to extend the polyphony. ESP contain all the three audio engines that you have in the Montage M or MODX M, the AWM2, ANX, and FMX engines. You can double your capacity like this on stage with a computer. How can you manage the ESP volume in relation to the organ performance here? Let's go back to this view and click here. You can see that it turns red, the USB main volume is there. You can adjust the ESP level directly with this fader. Like we're connected by USB, the USB audio comes back into your MODX M or Montage M and comes out through the main output, so don't turn down the main volume here. I advise you against lowering the part volume if you don't want to play the MODX M sound and only play with the ESP Performance. That's not the good solution, we have what we need. In fact, when we're on this part selection, let's do a double tap. Tap twice quickly. You can see that it switched to external. I'll show you close up, we're in external. That means that now, I'll be able to only play the ESP Performance. You can't hear the MODX M internal part, because it's set to external. Another point to understand, ESP don't need your MODX M or Montage M as dongle to use it. You don't need to have your MODX M or Montage M connected. You can also use any other MIDI keyboard. And if it's a MIDI keyboard with channel aftertouch or polyphonic aftertouch, you'll be able to use aftertouch with ESP. It recognizes it on all the three engines. ESP is a copy of the MODX M or Montage M audio engines. It's not a complete copy. That means you're going to find exactly all the performances you have on your MODX M or Montage M synthesizers. All the arpeggios, all the motion sequences. The effects too are the same. However, what you won't find is the pattern and song performance recorder. You don't have that in ESP because it's a virtual instrument. If you need to record, simply use Cubase AI, Cubase 15 Pro here for me, or any other sequencer software capable of hosting a virtual instrument. In terms of controls, we saw on video beginning the control change numbers for the scenes and the super knob. If you are in performance home play mode, does it work? Look, you'll see, it works. I have the right control changes. Look at the top screen for the scenes that are here. Even though it's not lit up on the MODX M, you can see that only the first one is lit up. I can select all ESP scenes. It sends the data to change ESP scenes. I can do this even if I'm not in DAW remote. I'd like to remind you that I have several useful videos record on Montage M, which explain very clearly how to use this DAW remote section. They apply to the MODX M too. Here, I can control the ESP Performance volume, but I can't control the parts volume. You can do that with the DAW remote, of course. If none of this works, I invite you to go here to the settings. It's a bit like the Montage M or MODX M utility settings. This is where you see the MIDI channel 1 by default. You can change it later if you want, but for the first using, it is on MIDI channel 1. This is where we find the control change numbers we saw on video beginning. Maybe you didn't have the right ones earlier, or you can align what you have in your MODX M and set on ESP the sames. Let's take a look at the interface, where you can see a lot of things. It's different from the MODX M or the Montage M where we have in a screen, I would say, one thing to work with. Here you have something a bit like the home or mixing performance view, a bit of both, because I'm at the common level. If I switch to the part level, you can see that I can work on my part. The first sound here is the piano, the second is a FMX sound, and you can see that the displays change. We're on FMX or AWM2 parts. I mention the mixing view because here we have parts 1 to 8, and here we have parts 9 to 16. What you need to understand with ESP is that these parts from 9 to 16 cannot be used in Cubase, Ableton, Logic, or Pro Tools to be played from a MIDI track. I click on plus, it's exactly like on the Montage M performance merge screen. You might ask, what's the point of that? Well, it's used only for smart morph creation. They'll be used there. You can see that we have the same home display with more details here. How can you do if you want to use a project with 16 tracks? I'll give you a quick example. You'll need to open a second ESP instance in your Cubase project. Go here and go to Receive Switch. You can see that we have the MIDI channels. So on the second instance, I could set MIDI channel 9, MIDI channel 10, and so on. I'm going to set them back on their default channels. And understand that ESP reacts in the same way as your Montage M or the MODX M for MIDI management. All the parts that are under keyboard control plays on the same MIDI channel that you have defined in the ESP settings screen. Parts without keyboard control activate will play on the specific MIDI channel that we saw here. One other point, on ESP there is no MIDI 2 currently. Can you use ESP as a direct editor? No, it's not an editor. By the way, that's a good thing. As already explained, it's completely independent of your MODX M or Montage M synth. That means you can take your laptop on vacation, to the hotel, on the road, with a tiny keyboard like a reface, prepare performances, sounds editing freely. You'll see that afterwards, we can synchronize everything we have on ESP to the MODX M synth. That's why it's important that it's not an editor. How do you synchronize? Perhaps you have noticed that I'm using a MODX M, but the ESP that opened by default on my computer is the Montage M version. Because I have both licenses. If you're in the same situation, because you have Montage M, for example to work on recording projects at home, and on stage you prefer to use the MODX M which is lighter, it's very simple. Look, you click on the name there, and you'll get this little message. Just change, and now I have the MODX M version with the MODX M polyphony of course, as example 12 notes on the Annex engine. I'm not going into all the polyphony details, I've made a video dedicated to that. Watch out for more details. Let's go to this little icon here. You can see it read my MODX M performance name. I've set the port for here, obviously it has to be configured to work. That's why it has to be disabled in DAW settings on Windows computer only. I can dump what I have from the MODX M to my computer, or from the computer to the MODX M synth, from buffer editing. If I prefer to work and edit on my MODX M with the knobs, faders, you can transfer your performance to ESP on your computer. Very easily. You can also transfer all the user content from one side to the other. No need to use a USB stick, you can do it for libraries, all in one step, or library by library. The entire backup too. If you prefer, you can also work with an USB stick because you find it safer, thinking about risk of loss during the USB connection. I've never encountered that, and the ESP dump is very quick even for large files. You have the little folder there. And there you can save library, user, or backup files. You can also load library, user, and backup files. All these files are compatible, whether it's ESP for MODX M, ESP for Montage M, MODX M synth, or Montage M synth, they are all fully compatible. They have all the same file types. You can also load on ESP, Motif XS, XF and MOXF files. Rather than recording directly in Cubase, you prefer recording through Play Rec here with the pattern. Well, no problem. Just click there. It's receiving the data. And there you go, you have all your songs and patterns. I'll make a short video to explain all this in details later. Now, let me quickly explain some other points about ESP navigation. I showed you the common levels and the part levels for the category search screen. If I'm in common, I change the ESP performance. We have exactly the same view as we have in MODX M or Montage M, with the advantage of having the attributes directly accessible here. They are exactly the same. I want to change the part. I click here, and I have the part with the settings. Here, I can choose whether or not to use the settings for the part that I'm going to set. that global view show more elements compared to the MODX M screen. You might think there's a lot of stuff here. How do you find your way around when you want to edit? On the MODX M or the Montage M, there's the navigation button. You have something similar here. Here at the top view, let's say you have common settings. On the bottom view, depending on the synthesis you are using, you have the detailed menu, a bit like on the MODX M screen. You want to work on the filter envelope generator that's here, then you click on this little icon there, which is shaped like a downward arrow. That's the equivalent of the navigation button, and you see, hop, you have the detailed screen displayed there. You want to see the insertion effects, just do this. It's really, really simple. Even though this drop-down menu is very nice, you don't have to use it all the time. This menu will be a little different if you're at the common level, and it will take you to other screens. I'm not going to show you all the screens, it would take too long time for this video. If you want to work on arpeggios, go to the little chevron here, and there you can work on arpeggios, either at the common level or at the part level. The same goes for motion sequences, at the common level or at the part level. You'll find the same settings and the same types of screens as you have on your Montage and MODX M synths. The super knob screen is here, it's very beautiful, very detailed. The auto knob too, look how beautiful it is. The scene memory, everything is there, and of course with OS 3.0, we also find the famous note limit. I haven't worked on it yet, but you see, you can activate several things on your scenes. Really very beautiful, very intuitive. The smart morph, I showed you earlier, I'm not going to go into more detail about it. Watch my video on that topic. After you have worked on ESP, how can you save your edited performance? Simply click on the computer icon with a downward arrow. You see, you find exactly the same screen type. Store as a new performance, give it a name, and store it. It's the same as you done on the MODX M screen. You want to see the oscillator in detail, that's one of the ESP advantages too. No matter where you're navigating, if you need to see the oscillator in detail, it's as simple as this. Click here, and then you can navigate through absolutely all the screens. It can hide a part of the screen, simply enlarged when you need, and you'll be able to work on your sounds and see what's happening with the oscillator. That's another great ESP advantage. And then one last really important point, when you're using the MODX M without ESP, when you record patterns, save them to a USB stick and load MIDI into your sequencer software. The audio engine is the MODX M synth. To record, I'll have to record in real time. The song lasts 3 minutes, you need to record audio all on the 3 minutes. The huge ESP advantage is that, since it's a virtual instrument, the audio engine is in the computer. This means that when you've finished recording your MIDI tracks, you can do what's called in Cubase the render in place. In most other software, it's called a bounce, which means it will generate the audio in less than 30 seconds. It saves valuable time. That's why it's so important to also work with ESP on your computer. That concludes this video. I really hope this will help those of you who aren't too familiar with this world to get started, because it's a really interesting world, and it doubles your MODX M capabilities. You can record patterns on your MODX M, transfer easily, and you'll do your audio rendering in quick way. It saves you a lot of time and increase your efficiency. That's video ending. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found the content interesting. Feel free to click on like, and I also invite you to click on the boost button to highlight this video in YouTube suggestions. As official Yamaha expert and specialist, if you want to learn more quickly how to use or take in hand your Montage M, MODX M, ESP, Camelot Pro, or any of the Yamaha synthesizers and stage keyboards that I use, or also Cubase MIDI and audio recording with them, you can request an online masterclass with me. You choose your session topic, and you can download your session video to watch it as many times as you need. If you are a Moessieurs YouTube community member, you will get 15 minutes extra time for each session. How to become a member? Just sign up on YouTube. It's a monthly subscription of €3, and you'll get more than just the 15 minutes extra time. You'll get to see all my videos in preview, without ads, almost 1 month in advance, as well as my private videos without ads too. Don't hesitate to join the Moessieurs YouTube community. See you soon for a new Moessieurs video.